Nothing reminds you that it's not a playoff game like coming to a screeching halt and going to a shootout, eh?
Oh, the shootout. You never. It's like you're either your best friend or your worst nightmare. And in the Leafs case, it's you never go to bed happy. So
Only the second one of the year, but it just seemed like this was such a high octane, fast game, chances going back and forth, and especially now that there was the whispers coming out of the GM meeting that they're talking about making overtime 7 minutes instead of 5. It's like, oh, that extra 2 minutes would have been so much more enjoyable than going to a shootout.
Yeah,
because it seemed like somebody was so close to scoring. I mean, to be fair, it looked like it was probably going to be Colorado, but I would rather it end that way with something exciting at least than going to a shootout and thinking, okay, well, it's an even playing field again. Like it's, I'm glad we got the point.
Yeah. And I kind of like watching shootouts for entertainment purposes. And, you know, maybe a player might try something we may not expect, or a highlight reel comes out of it, or some fancy move, right? But with the Leafs, it's like, I can't predict what they're going to do unless it's a shot straight on the crest or the puck doesn't get lifted. And I'm like, oh, it frustrates me every time, because it's not like we have a Kucherov where he's going to fake it and it slowly slides in, or some, I don't know, deceiving shit. Like, it's so expected and it drives me insane. But you're right. We got to take the point against this juggernaut of a team. And yeah, we'll take it and move on to the next one.
Well, even the one that they got on the shootout, it wasn't even the shot that McKinnon was looking for. Like, no. It just managed to squeak right under Sammy's arm. Like, he was so close to having this one, but he was ready for what McKinnon was aiming for. And that's just not what happened. So really unlucky end to that one.
5-hole, I thought it was. Like, they expected...
It got like right here.
Oh, it was so fast, right? Like, you have to deceive the goaltender in any way. McKinnon's strength is his speed, and he utilized that. And, you know, you go into a little bit of a panic mode. Like, if you had Austin Matthews speeding straight at you, obviously, like, oh shit. But
I mean, him and Willie both tried that. They came in full speed, and it didn't really work. And, you know, unfortunately, Georgiev had a really good night. That's all.
Really good night. I have to applaud Georgiev tonight. 944 save percentage. I mean, he only let the one goal in thanks to our boy Morgan Rielly. Where would we be without Morgan Rielly, the person who's been shit on for the last couple of months here, but way to redeem himself tonight. And yeah, Georgiev, I don't know, full applause, man. Like, I think it was a steal for the Avs to pick him up in the offseason there. And as the New York Rangers stuck with Shesterkin, Georgiev was a good goalie as well. So surprising to me that they let him go. Halak isn't, like, he's great as well. Don't get me wrong. He's proven. But Georgiev, kind of like a Kemper situation, coming from Arizona, going to the Avs and working his way up to number one. Georgiev, same thing, from a 1B role to the 1A, and look where he's at now.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair to Darcy Kemper, I'm pretty sure he was the starter with the Wild before he went out to Arizona. So I mean, he's at least proven himself at different points. But I think what happened with Georgiev was kind of like where the Leafs are at. I mean, it's kind of a bad comparison, but similar to the Leafs with Lily and Sandin, where you can only keep one of them, right? I mean, you were never going to be able to afford to hold on to both of them when Georgiev's contract ran out, and the value is so high on him that, I mean, why keep him around as your backup if somebody will pay for having him as a 1B or even their starter? So I think they just saw an opportunity to recoup some assets there and bring in maybe a cheaper backup with some experience, because Georgiev is still maybe a little unproven, and having him back up Shesterkin, like, he's only going to play a handful of games. You don't know how predictable that's going to be. I think it just made sense for them, but it obviously hurts to let go of somebody so good.
Yeah, definitely. And they're in need of a great goaltender. I mean, the guy backing up on the bench, Johansson there, the last time he played this season, the only time he's played this season was against the Leafs when they blew him out 6-2. So
Yeah.
Francouz is injured. Unfortunately, this team has been battling injuries all year long, but hey, so have the Leafs. I know
Yep.
Sportsnet tonight was whining and crying about how, our poor guy Lehkonen broke his finger last game, but then the list of injured players, I mean, Manson and Landeskog, McDermott, Johnson, Helm, etc. But it's like, guys, we're missing Ryan O'Reilly here. We've gone long periods of time without our 1A Matt Murray, who's supposed to be our 1A, like without Morgan Riley for a big chunk of time. So the Leafs have been there.
TJ Brody and Mete
Matthews.
and Ben and like everybody on the defense was hurt at the same time. That was stupid.
Yeah, exactly. That's when, even Matthews being out and Bobby McMahon had his chance and coming up. And like, it was kind of a blessing in disguise for the Leafs because we got to see these Marlies come and make a statement, man. Like, I would never expect Bobby McMahon to enter the NHL in this season, right? And now it's like we can count on Steves, McMahon, Holmberg, who's made a name of himself, filling in while we were battling injuries.
Yeah, and it's like the Avalanche, sure, they've got injuries and they've come out of it. Sorry, I'm just trying to put my thought together here while looking at numbers. They 82 points. So, I mean, look, if we're going to put it up to injuries and compare them, the Leafs have had the same amount, if not more substantial ones when it comes to their goalies and their entire defense and their star forwards. They've played one less game and they've got 7 more points. So that just goes to show how much the Leafs are able to adapt and how little Colorado is. So, sure. Give them all the whining and whatever. Let's start the show.
Let's do it.
Hi, this is Mike Ross, public address announcer for your Toronto Maple Leafs, and this is the Leafs Late Night Podcast, your post-game destination. And now, your starting lineup. Roscoe, the Fanalist, Southey, Beener, and Darty Brodeur on the Leafs Late Night Podcast.
Okie dokie. So, we touched on a bit of it. Before we get back into the game, though, I want to ask you about something that Beener and I talked about last episode, which is all of the new additions to the Jays Arena. So, all of y'all who listened are familiar. If you did not catch the last episode, the Jays have added 9 new standing areas to view games. This is called the new outfield district. So for $20, you can get in. You are not given a seat, but you can go to any of these 9 areas that include somewhere to get food and drinks and to watch the game from really cool places, like from rooftop patios or from right behind the opposing team's bullpen or from different places where they say are good to catch home runs and foul balls and stuff. So, it's for the hardcore fans, for the casual fans. It's a lot of different viewing experiences. There's family stuff. So I guess where I wanted to go with this was you've got some similar discussions that have come up in your life. So what are your thoughts on this and what do you want to add to it?
Honestly, I'm excited as hell for this as someone who, doesn't even follow the MLB. I'm just a Jays fan. I'm a hometown Toronto girl. You bleed blue through and through, and that happens to be Jays and Leafs, right? You just support them, but you like to go to games. You get free tickets once in a while, and it's a good time. But in my personal experience, my partner, for example, gets bored around the 4th or 5th inning, or asks me, is it over yet? And we're up in the nosebleeds and I'm having a great time. We're all having a great time watching the game. I can focus on the game, but not a lot of people can. So when I saw the release of these different areas, especially, 2 in the 100 levels, 2 in the 500, 1 in the 200, I mean, that's amazing. First of all, tickets in the hundreds levels, period, is expensive, right? The fact that you can be on that side of the game and still experience whatever activities they have going on and be able to drink and do whatever you want and still enjoy everything around you, I think it's an added bonus to me. For $20,
Like I said, it's for hardcore fans. Like, you can be right behind on bleachers, heckling the opposing team's pitchers as they're warming up. Or you can come with your kids and be in the family zone at the top with the fake grass, and they can play cornhole or something when they get bored after a couple innings. And, you know, you guys can still watch the game. So
yeah,
I think it's great.
Oh my God. Yeah. And this rooftop patio, man, the Sky Dome open, you're having some beers on a hot summer day, watching the Jays game, and you're on a rooftop patio at that point. And, you know, even if the game, nothing's going on, you just want to walk away for a little and check out what else is going on in the stadium. Why not? For so cheap, make a date out of it. It's literally cheap, one of the cheapest dates you can get out of being downtown Toronto for $20 a ticket. Holy. And Jays games are long as hell, right? So it's a long period of entertainment. I think this is a fantastic idea.
Yeah, I think it's going to do well. And like I said, I hope the Sens incorporate something like this into their new arena. We'll see what happens. So you mentioned something interesting, though, you know, bleeding blue through and through. I thought of something interesting. A little conspiracy theory came to my mind, and I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Okay.
So they bring the Florida Panthers into the league, and notice that there is a massive, massive influx of Canadians down in Florida. You know, this was part of bringing a team down there. You're going to have all the vacationing people.
Mm-hmm. Snowbirds.
It's part of the plan. But when you see it on TV, it doesn't look too great to see the stands full of the opposing team's jerseys, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a reason that Tampa is blue and white.
Oh.
I think they learned from their mistake with the Panthers and said, you know what? Because I've been to those games and I've seen them on TV. It is impossible to tell who is wearing what jersey for what team. And I think that is exactly what Gary wanted.
Emotional support for Tampa Bay.
Or it doesn't. I think the thing is, it doesn't matter if Tampa's doing bad or the Leafs are doing bad. You can't tell, right? And there's so many Leaf fans that go down there to those games. Like, you hear "Go Leafs Go" every single time they're down there. Like, the season lines up with when all the Snowbirds are down there. Like, it just makes sense. And at the Panthers games, it's bad, man. Like, it's really obvious because the colors are jarring. Tampa?
So you're further implying that Gary Bettman and this playoff format, and knowing that Tampa has been the first round opponent since before Christmas for the Leafs, this is, you know, a conspiracy, right? Like, maybe, like I said, emotional support for these fans down south and for the Leafs, and, you know, for us not to cry while watching them. But at the same time, is this all a part of a bigger plan you're hinting at?
I don't know, man. I want to see when Tampa changed to Tampa Bay Lightning jersey history. When did they change to the blue and white from? I just made it up. I came up with it.
Yeah, okay.
It came to me. So
I like the black in the jerseys.
They got rid of that. I mean, they still kind of, since 2017, they haven't had it. They didn't really have it since 2013 either. 2008, they only had it kind of a black stripe, so you wouldn't really be able to tell still. Like, they haven't had their home jersey as black since 2007, 2008.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's after they, took the team apart after they won the cup. So,
hey,
just saying.
Maybe.
Which leads into another thing.
Yeah.
Another thing. So Beaner and I talked about expansion to Houston and Atlanta that came out in little whisper rumors on Twitter. Gary Bettman addressed this after the GM's meeting, saying that there has been interest from Houston, Atlanta, and Quebec City, but they have no plans for expansion at this time. So what I find extremely interesting about this is Gary Bettman is very, very, very careful with his words. He would not name cities, even if they're out there in rumors. He would just say, there has been interest for expansion, but we have no plans for it at this time. The fact that he named the cities means they're a little more down the line than just rumors. There's been some sort of talks around this. They have at least investigated what this would look like. They've done some research on it. Like, he wouldn't go as far as to say those 3 cities, because Quebec City was, the fact that he threw that out there was almost to kind of not add to it, but people were arguing, saying why these places and not Quebec City, and he kind of threw it in there as like, don't worry, like, we're also considering Quebec City. That's at least how I'm looking at it, because Gary Bettman never says anything by accident.
Yeah, he's a lawyer for a reason, right? This guy is a smart dude, and he knows how to address the media, whether we like him or not. And you might be onto something, honestly. A lot of people who hold positions of power, you can decode what they mean based on their statements, which is clearly run by their PR team, right? Like, clearly none of this shit's getting out before it's read over in some way, but I don't know.
I think we need a sponsorship from Segue, because this has just been a great one. One after another. So here's another segue. So I think that Bettman is waiting to see how much the Sens sell for, to see where the market's at for a team. Because at first, the value was estimated about $650 million. Then Bill Daley came out and said it was 850 and could potentially eclipse $1 billion. So that is almost double their original estimate. And that's to buy a team that you still have to build an arena for. So we were incorporating that arena building cost, which is probably like what, 250 to $350 million, I think, to build something like that.
Ugh.
And you got to do that on top of it. Like I was saying, if you spend 600 and something million on it, and then you have to do that, you're reaching that billion threshold, which is what we've estimated the teams to be at. But if they're selling just the team for $1 billion, man, he probably wants to see how that plays out before they even get further with the discussions, I guess.
And they're waiting on Ryan Reynolds' offer for the team, and like you said, comparing the price for Arizona, especially once Bedard goes there. And after a couple successful seasons for Bedard, maybe later considering a price on a new franchise.
What's the climate? How much was the Climate Pledge Arena?
Good question, but it was a lot, because I know they're the first to be environmentally friendly. We went over this in our first episode when we faced the Seattle Kraken, and how it's supposed to benefit like renewable energy sources and such. But we all know, if you have anything like that into play, like solar panels, for example, they cost an arm and a leg. So how much is it, Roscoe?
$1.15 billion.
Whew. Shit. Yeah. There you go.
UBS Arena was $1.5 billion.
Oh.
What was another recent arena? Oh my God. I think my estimate was way off.
Yeah, I'm totally out of the ballpark with this.
What's the Vegas one?
Here.
What's their arena called?
Yeah, I don't know. I gotta Google that.
No, I got it here. Cost to build Vegas Golden Knights Arena. T-Mobile Arena.
T-Mobile. Oh my God.
Okay, so this is a little more reasonable. So I think the other ones were, like you said, Climate Pledge Arena was on purpose taking no, how do I put this? They weren't taking cost into account when they built it. They wanted to make an eco-friendly arena. UBS, they did an entire redevelopment of the neighborhood around it. The T-Mobile Arena for the Vegas Golden Knights was $375 million. So that's probably closer to what I was thinking for Ottawa. Okay, I didn't think I was that far off. That makes a lot more sense. Phew.
Wow.
So what's interesting there is that Ryan Reynolds, it was announced today that he sold Mint Mobile to T-Mobile. So for those unaware, Ryan Reynolds was a 20 to 25% share owner in Mint Mobile, and it sold for $1.35 billion. So at 25%, that's a crisp $375 million before tax that he just made. He also sold Aviation Gin for $600 million. I don't know how much of that he owned, if it was like 51% or something, but that dude just cashed he just liquidated all of his assets. That means he's about to put them into something. Like, he needed a ton. Remington Group said, how much money are you willing to put up? Because all these other guys are bidding a shit ton. And he went, give me 2 weeks. I got to make a couple phone calls. And he sold everything. That's what I'm seeing here.
Yeah. It seems that way, and I really hope it happens. How awesome would that be? Like, one side of the arena all like Deadpool or some shit, and the other
hey,
on what sense?
Red Blacks, man, the color scheme works.
Yeah, exactly.
So the thing to understand about having that much money is you don't want to have that all just in cash in a bank account. Like $600 million, the income tax you would have to pay on that is astronomical.
Oh.
So the only reason that you would make two sales like this back to back is because you're investing in something else. So Gary came out and said that within weeks we could see the sale happen. They've moved into phase 2 here, where it's getting to not just people putting in offers. It's now the serious offers have been taken into the next room, and it's now the Joker scene where they break a pool cue in half and whoever comes out gets cents. I make that reference a lot.
It's a good one.
So, man, this is just, like I said, Segue, just all of these have just led into each other. I love it.
Lots of news in recent weeks, so lots to talk about. But tonight, man, Leafs. Hate to change the subject on you, but
no, that was all
obviously. Yeah, I don't know much about these arenas. Clearly, I'm one of those poor folk who has never seen a road game for the Leafs, guys. Like, I've only seen them in the Scotiabank Arena. I've only been
going
to
on
Recall,
Saturday.
Yeah, Recall Coliseum and the Marlies, and you're going twice. In the next 2 weeks? Jealous.
Yeah, Saturday and then 2 weeks from Saturday.
Yeah. So super jealous of you, and hoping to get to that April one. We will see. But, man, tonight.
My favorite is the people in Ottawa. They try to be like accommodating Canadians to all the Leaf fans. It's really sarcastic, but it's funny. They're always like, hey, thanks for coming to visit us. The cheaper seats in Ontario. And they're all like kind of, showing you the way out after, like, get the hell out of here. Thanks for coming. It's pretty funny.
Hey, I would pay to see Brady Tkachuk taunt a whole team and try and take them all on at once.
Oh, it'll be an interesting game. I'm looking forward to it.
These tough guys.
Tonight, though.
Oh my God. Back to 11-7.
And not the Ben & Jerry's flavor tonight, though.
No, not that.
You ever had that one?
No.
We've talked about ice cream in the last couple episodes. Ben & Jerry's, it's the Jimmy Fallon, the Tonight Dough. I think it's got like pretzels and cookie dough and peanut butter. And it's good.
Wow. Well,
maybe
Ben
it's the Netflix
Jerry's?
and chill one, but that one's good too, yeah.
I find there's not a lot of pieces of the toppings in the mixture, so I'm digging to find a piece of cookie, and it's like never appearing. Yeah, I'm always disappointed. I'm like, I paid $12 for this little can of shit.
Can I add one more random tidbit, because this actually relates to the game? I did not know, because I was like 2 years old when they came into the league, or when this happened, at least. I didn't realize that the Colorado Avalanche were almost called the Rocky Mountain Extreme.
That would be extreme.
I got to read into the whole story, but it was the Later Rivals podcast. Shout out Chris, thanks, buddy. who commented on when I posted our last episode. It was something about the expansion teams in Houston and Atlanta, and he commented something about the Rocky Mountain Extreme, and I was like, wait, who is that? And I looked them up, and I went down this rabbit hole of like how the owner of the Colorado Avalanche wanted to call them that, and they were like very close to being that.
Wow.
Yeah. People have made like mock-up jerseys and like, you know, fake promo posters for Winter Classics and stuff, and yeah.
Interesting. I bet Beaner knows all about it, and missing you right now to give us that little history lesson about the Colorado Extreme.
No, the Rocky Mountain Extreme, not even Colorado.
Oh,
just the Rocky Mountain Extreme. It's like the Green
Rocky
Bay
Mountain
Packers.
Extreme. Oh my God, that could have been something.
I mean, it's not. It's very like late 90s, early 2000s. It was extreme, like with an X.
Even better.
Just imagine like the colors of the Colorado Avalanche now, but like more vibrant. So it was more like a blue and purple, like the Solo Cup thing with like an X through the middle of the jersey. It's fucking crazy.
I want 90s neon colors. Just, you know, like what's the logo you created with the teal and the purple and all that, and then the big
that's
X
the
in the
Solo
middle.
Cup. That's the thing.
Okay, that's the thing. I didn't realize. I forgot the name of the thing. Okay,
it's called. For anybody who has ever wondered if you're trying to look that thing up, it's called Solo Jazz. Just so you know, I found it.
Okay.
I went another rabbit hole. They had a contest with people that worked at the factory to submit designs, and some woman that worked there, that was the one she submitted. But because it was a contest within the company, she doesn't get compensated for it, even though it is outside of the Red Solo Cup, Solo's brand, essentially. So it's silly. Anyway, the game. Let's talk about hockey.
Hockey. Wow.
So Morgan Riley, everybody has been all over him, and you know that graph you shared just shows him at the worst for goals for and goals against on the Leafs while he's on the ice. It's just not been his season, and we've been waiting for him to find his game. And tonight, I thought he was going to score on that first one where he, like I said, he dented the post on that. That was so loud. I was watching on my phone at work, and I could hear that ding. Like it was on low volume and just boom. Like holy shit.
I think my chair shook. It literally sent vibrations from Scotiabank Arena to Oshawa. 51 seconds into the period, all you hear is ding from Morgan Riley. I'm like, ah!
Off a disgusting drop pass from Matthews, by the way. Ooh.
Yes, rushing in, you know, taking that chance and being that offensive side, like reactivating that offense to him. I don't know. It's been, you know, sometimes we pick on him because he's pinching too much or he jumps on the play too early or too late. But tonight, gotta say, Morgan Riley probably played one of his best games of the season.
Yeah, and you know what? Morgan has to be feeling,
I'm feeling pretty good. Pretty good.
Pretty good. Because I mean, I knew he was going to score tonight. Just off that one shot, I was like, oh, dude's feeling it tonight. Just like you said, the confidence to jump in on that, and even beating Georgiev, just couldn't get it in the right spot there.
Yeah.
Soon after, he manages to find the back of the net in almost the exact same manner.
Yeah. Mikko Rantanen? Or sorry, the next goal was Mikko Rantanen.
Riley.
Yeah, you're still on Riley here. I'm jumping ahead. But Riley, oh my God. I have to say though, Marner had to pick up a new twig off the bench on this play as well. Did you catch that, Johnny, on your phone?
No, I didn't.
So
I was watching the first on my phone. I was coming home on the second, and I watched the third and overtime in the shootout. Okay, there's the full disclosure.
You know, thank God for our assistant on the bench there, who's always ready, as they said on the broadcast, playing piano with the sticks, has his fingers on everyone's stick who's on the ice because it was brought into action. And Marner taking that new twig and setting up the play. Honestly, beautiful shot, Riley, but third star of the week, Mitch Marner, 6 points in 2 games before tonight. And that assist on this goal matches his assist total from last season at 62.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So Mitch is on fire.
And he's not competing with Jonathan Huberdeau this year because Jonathan Huberdeau sucks this year. Much to my fantasy team's chagrin.
The secondary apple, we have to applaud, Calle Jarnkrok on this first line tonight.
He was great.
Yeah, I liked Calle Jarnkrok on this first line. I mean, he was driving the play, kind of bringing what Bunting has been missing from that first line, and not just getting too aggressive, but taking the shot. And this is why I love Jarnkrok, because he's not afraid to fucking shoot the puck. Oh my God.
Honestly, since he's come in, he's one of the most consistent shooters in the sense that when he has an opening, he's going to take the shot. Like, he's not somebody that they have very few people that think shot before pass, even when they shouldn't. Like, there's guys that have great shots that Marner this year has started shooting, but you see, like, when Kerfoot and Engvall were going down, it's like either of you could take this shot and neither of you want to. Jarnkrok is the first one on this team this year who every opportunity he gets, he's going to take the shot. And he has scored on quite a few of them now.
Even last game against Buffalo, when it was a 2-on-1 with him and Matthews, all eyes on Matthews, because everyone's like, holy shit, Matthews is rushing the net. And when he passed the Jarnkrok, no one saw Jarnkrok coming. It was an easy shot and straight in. And like, having that hockey IQ to utilize your superstars in that aspect and being sneaky and taking the shot and, just take the risk. Who fucking cares if you're in the zone and it's a 2-on-1, 2-on-0 like tonight? And oh man, lowest shot total of the whole year, by the way, with 19 on the shot counter. Wow. Calle Jarnkrok still posting 4 hits as well. One shot, I know I'm saying take the shot, but he still made his physical presence noticed at the same time. I didn't think he held up the play in any sort of way like Kerfoot may have previously or Bunting. Like, I thought it worked.
Yeah, and I think the fact that Jarnkrok has a dangerous shot, Bunting scores, but all of his goals come from directly in front of the net, which is not a bad thing. JVR has made an entire career out of that. So the thing with Jarnkrok, though, is because he's a threat of a shot, it forces them to not double up on Matthews and Marner or Nylander, whoever's playing there, because you can't leave Jarnkrok open. Whereas you can leave Bunting open because you don't think they're going to pass it to him. Whereas Bunting's entire reason for being on the ice is to pass it to Marner or Matthews.
Yeah, exactly.
So it just tosses up how people play against that line, which I think has been stale. Like, you can take advantage of it for so long, but we're this deep into the season and heading into the playoffs where teams are watching game tape more than ever. They're checking their notes. They're figuring out what has been established by these teams in the last few meetings, and you're coming up on your last meetings with most teams for the season, so they know what to expect. So it's a great shakeup, I think, to have Jarnkrok up there with them.
Yeah, and the next shift out, who is Jarnkrok with? He's with Kerfoot and Lafferty. And the shot on net from Jarnkrok is fed by Kerfoot behind the net. And Jarnkrok sitting right in front with a big slapper. And, Lafferty's just zooming all over the place. Like, with this 11-7 system, it's nice to be able to see these guys play and not having to fuck up all the lines and the sequence of the lines later on the game. There's been a lot of complaints out there, but at the same time, it's, getting that fresh look and fresh legs on the ice and short shifts and keep pumping out the shifts. I don't know. It just works right now for me, even though they may not be clicking as much as you want, but I like seeing these new names together.
I think it gives them some fun opportunities. The one complaint I have about the 11-7 is when you have 7 defensemen, why are the forwards the ones blocking all of the shots?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not looking at the number stats right now, but not in terms of the amount of shots, but the type and danger of shots and situation, it was a lot of forwards covering their asses tonight. And I'm like, isn't the whole point here that the forwards don't have to worry about back there and they're going to use everything for scoring? Like, what is happening here with this system?
So the leader in blocks tonight is tied between Mitch Marner and Jake McCabe. Both nominate them both for the Norris.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with Marner blocking a shot here and there, but not when you're in this situation, and not when you're getting this close to the playoffs, and not when he's taking it lying down in the side of his leg. Like, that was not a good place to do that. Leave that to TJ Brody. He probably has a callus on the side of his leg. Like,
And the thing with Mitch Marner, right, playing on the PK and the PP. Oh my God! Do you have any idea what his ice time was tonight? Or are you looking at that right
I'm
now, or
not,
do you want to take a wild guess?
let's say 26:35.
Matthews was 26:52. Marner was 29:10.
Oh my God. See, I get that they went full OT, but like, that's too much. That's the danger of this 11-7. Like, I get that these guys can do it, but they shouldn't do it this many games heading into the playoffs. Like, don't tire them out. We should be protecting these guys at this point, especially with O'Reilly out. Like, you can't lose somebody else. And if you're going to protect them in this manner, then the defense need to step up and just play defense when there's 7 of them. And like, aside from obviously Riley and I hope Gustafsson, but like, they really gotta protect the back end there and not force the forwards to cover for them.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we have so many D. We can afford to lose. This sounds so bad. I don't want them to get hurt, of course, but we can
but that's the
afford to
point.
lose one.
I said this on the last episode with Biener. I was like, Dubas must be so frustrated with these guys. It's like, I got you so much backup on defense that we actually don't know how to keep them all in a rotation without losing one to waivers. And the forwards are getting hurt. Why are you guys blocking shots from each other? What are you doing? Don't be in front of the shot. I asked you to just stay healthy.
And speaking of being...
I brought in Luke Shen specifically to kill people for you.
Right, I know. And speaking of being in front of the shot, you know, super unlucky. The first power play opportunity for Colorado. McCabe standing right there. The shot pass. Rantanen is trying to feed Nichushkin. Nope, it's not going through him. It's going off him and straight past Samsonov.
Very right, Nichushkin.
4 consecutive games with power play goals. My fantasy team is loving it, but my brain is hating it while watching this Leaf game. And I'm like, okay, fine, we'll give them 1. Okay, we'll get the couple points here. And luckily, we only held them to 1, right? Because they had 5 opportunities tonight, and this power play is hot, 6 overall. But hey, the Leafs are 2nd overall in the league. Every time we record this podcast, we have been climbing the charts, and now we're already back to 2nd. I bet you we're going to end this year on at first, like last year. I mean, at this point in the season, we were at 89 points. Now we're at 90 points. Things are okay. Things are good.
Which is what I said last time we talked about the power play, and everybody was crying about it. I'm like, you realize we are in like 4th. And we have one of the least amount of opportunities in the entire league. So yeah, the one thing I wanted to say, because you brought it up, Mikko Rantanen scoring the goal for the Avalanche tonight. That dude has really taken advantage of all the injuries this year. I have him on 2 of the fantasy leagues we're in. Of course, it's both of the free ones that don't matter, but
of course, best teams on the free leagues.
43 goals and 35 assists this year for Mikko Rantanen. That is somebody who you could mention that name to people who watch every Leaf game but don't really pay attention to other teams, and they would go, who the hell is Mikko Rantanen?
Make it 44. Yeah.
No.
This guy, 44 tonight.
Oh, is it the 44th tonight? I thought it was 43.
Yep.
Okay. But point being, this guy came out of nowhere.
Right? Well, if maybe Avs fans at home are screaming right now because
we have so many of them.
Oh my God, we've been watching him from day one. But hey, from a outsider perspective, Mikko Rantanen, damn, like going through the dark years with this team as well, and then the phase of not getting past the second or third round for a while, and then finally hoisting the cup.
I'm just looking at his numbers. It's crazy. Like, this is somebody whose name I see in fantasy, but like we play Colorado twice a year. Like, I don't really pay attention to the West that much. Mm-hmm. And we haven't been past the first round, so I don't get to see them at all. Since coming in, so he was first round 10th overall in 2015. In 16-17, 38 points. Since then, he's had 84, 87. Shortened season, he had 41 points in 42 games, 66 points in 52 games, 92 points in 75 games, and now he's got 79 points in 66 games for a total of 487 points in 474 games. Holy cow.
He picks up the slack.
Well, and on a team where there's so many names, right? Like, everybody pays attention to McKinnon and, up until this year, Kadri, and there was so much going on there that I think he just tends to fly under the radar. He's like the William Nylander of the Avalanche, right?
Nichushkin was out for several months and was just recently reactivated. And also Nathan McKinnon, if you think about him in a fantasy perspective, he's a risky pick because this guy's usually injured for a good chunk of the year. And do you want to waste your first round pick on a guy who's going to play like 2/3 of the season? Or
it's the same as like Kucherov or, anybody from the Golden Knights. Like,
yeah,
that's my new lesson I learned this year is don't put all your chips in the Golden Knights basket. Don't put all your, and that's funny because I didn't even mean putting your chips on the thing, making a gambling reference, but it worked. The thing they're now down Logan Thompson, Laurent Brossoit. They had to bring in Jonathan Quick, who is 4-0 with like a 930 something save percentage since coming in. It's crazy.
Oh.
Too late. I already grabbed him if you're going to go check.
Nope.
And then they Mark Stone's out, and like they rotate guys off IR. Just don't pick them. Not good fantasy team.
No, they were previously, and heading into the off season with the whole when they just picked up Eichel, right? This was supposed to be the hottest line coming in. You had Patches at the time, Eichel, Mark Stone. This was supposed to be the best team in fantasy, but then that kind of hit the fan, and Patches
went to Carolina and never played, and Eichel was on and off IR, and Stone's on and off IR. They're defensemen too. It's such a nightmare. Anyway, back to this game. I'm distracted.
This game.
So nothing comes out of the second period, and nothing comes out of the third period except a bunch of speed and chances. And unfortunately, like we've kind of mentioned, the Leafs looked slower tonight than the other team, and it didn't hurt them in that Colorado was able to score off of it, but the Leafs also weren't able to score, so it kind of stalemate.
You cannot score if you do not shoot the puck. And in the second period, the Leafs had 4 shots on net. Keefe just came off the previous game saying that the second period against Buffalo was the worst period they've played all season long, where they've had 3 shots on goal. So
and they're the best second period team in the league. So
right tonight, no difference there. I mean, the refs were obviously not on our side, but when you're on the power play and there's 4 seconds left and you get a call for having too many buds on the ice, there's a problem. You want to rip your hair out at that point, because it's like, guys, you're on the fucking power play. Like, first of all, Nichushkin off the 1v1 draw with Samsonov. Oh my God, good save. Samsonov played amazingly tonight.
No kidding.
Good thing for him, because there were many little rush chances there, and like the Leafs loosening up, but they did stick with it. They got to say they had an awesome PK. They killed 4 out of 5. I mean, Lafferty and Achari, I have to applaud them for rotating out of that high point slot, blocking Makar, McKinnon, back and forth, and even Rantanen. Like, I was super impressed with that.
More forwards blocking shots. Great. Right. Love it.
But moral of the story is that you cannot score goals if you do not get pucks to the net.
And again, this comes back to being a little slower than the other team. I mean, it seemed like Colorado was beating them to get everybody back to stop. Like, as you know, as soon as somebody from even Matthews would bring it in, both defensemen were already there and he'd have to turn up. And as soon as he let up a little bit, all of the forwards are back. And it was like, oh, well, now we got to do this. There wasn't a ton of 2-on-1 chances. And I mean, they really only came in overtime, and that's what it comes down to. So the Leafs have to find a different way to get around these faster teams, because look, defensively, they can clearly keep them out. It's just a matter of turning it around and maybe keeping it in their zone. Like if it means cycling the puck around until you find an opening, yeah, that's going to be less shots, but you got to get something in.
We have to applaud both teams for being awesome on the defense. I mean, they're both great. I was hoping that our power kill would activate tonight, but then I learned that Colorado has only let in 2 shorthanded goals all season long. League leading, right? So it's like, come on, Marner, you had a couple chances there, and like there was a 1 power play opportunity where they had no shots, and like, but the Avalanche were on it. Like if they were rushing back, they were right there with them. Like it's clear that this is a Stanley Cup winning team and they know how to get it done no matter who is in or out of the lineup.
Yeah, I think you just got to applaud the Leafs for keeping in it right till the very end. It literally came down to a toss-up of goaltending that really was a fluke goal, and otherwise they stopped everything else. So it's just an annoying way to end what was otherwise a really good game. I just hope the Leafs are able to. They have a couple tough opponents, so I hope they kind of adjust and get ready, because it's been a couple weeks of meh teams in February.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're just waking up a little bit and going, oh shit, we were getting used to playing bad teams for so long.
I also do have to applaud this overtime effort. I found that
so close.
Man, just the fact that the Leafs kept with it and kept control of the puck, and even if they didn't have it, like Matthews was basically a shadow on the Colorado player, right? And not letting anything go through, and the Leafs put pressure on. I mean, I had a little heart attack in the beginning when Lily like fanned on a pass at the Leafs blue line, and Devin Taves just takes it to the net, and Marner has to come back with that big block right on the side of his leg. But Riley almost one-on-one. Taves sprawls out. Man, it was just back and forth. Gustafsson off the post, right? Like, you want to see this guy score eventually, right? All these newbies have to score. But it's just bouncing pass. Matthews couldn't get a stick on it, and we're in the shootout. And womp womp. We take the point. We move on. Next opponent, Carolina, Friday, which we know is going to be a tough game, 100%. Probably going to face Freddie and hope that he's going to let in a soft one to let us get ahead here.
Unfortunately, news out of there that Andrei Svechnikov is donezo for the season. So on top of Patches out, they do lose Svechnikov. So that's just rough for them. That's a shame.
Yeah, that is a shame, but it won't be a shame if we face them later on down the road, rounds. But speedy recovery. Hope that everything is well for him. And yeah, we do have a couple questions actually.
And the Ottawa game is going to be good too, because the Leafs are always okay against Ottawa, we'll say. And Ottawa's been, I mean, on a little bit of a slide lately, but overall the last month or so, they've started to find their game finally. Looks like next year will be exciting for them, which is kind of what they say every year.
Right. Oh, man, the whole off season on Twitter. What a crazy couple months, and everyone putting their life savings, what it seemed, on Ottawa being a better team than the Leafs. But
and then Eugene died. Yeah, that was weird. Anyway. Rest in peace, and really interested to see where the sale goes in the next few weeks. I'm hoping it's soon, because, like, I mean, I'm here. I want to see them break ground on this arena and something happen.
Yeah.
It'd be cool.
No, seriously.
Okay, questions.
Chris Rickett on Twitter asks, my question is, where do the Leafs go from here? Another tough game for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's good things to take away from it. There were good things to take away from the other games, not as many, but I think honestly, it's been the 11-7. Everybody's adjusting. I don't know. I don't want to make excuses for them. It just seems that it's not how they've been playing all year. And like, I mean, in terms of the actual structure of the team, on top of having all these new guys, I just think it's really awkward. And that's kind of on Keefe to try to settle down and find the groove for this team. This is really the testing moment for him, I think, because it's forcing him out of what he's been doing the last couple of years, which is having, your first two lines set and then play around with the bottom. He's really being forced to get creative right now. We'll see how it goes. I think they got to get better at finding opportunities against these good teams. That's all. Like I said, what do you think?
Yeah. Where do we go from here? We keep on keeping on, because honestly, I don't think this game was all doomsday like Twitter believes it to be. I mean, allowing only one goal on Samsonov tonight. I mean, all applause to Sammy. He gave us big smiles because he put on a stellar performance. But
didn't the Avs just score 8 goals in their last game?
Yeah, they won 8-4 against Montreal, and this could
Montreal.
Well, it could have easily been a blowout game, right? And we won 6-2 against them on New Year's Eve, but it could have been the other way around. And I feel like we have to take the positives from it and kind of see what stuck. For example, Keefe really enjoying Achari and Kampf and Czar staying together. I think this might be a line set in stone, and figuring out where Gustafsson is going to fit in this roster, and just these unknown questions that you don't really get to answer unless you play the guys. And do you rotate them every other night, and then Gustafsson only plays the next 4 out of 10 games left, for example? Or it's tough, right? Too many clowns in the clown car still. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's some that you can afford to, and the players can not be, I guess they don't take a hit to their skill or confidence by sitting. And that's Gio and Shen. I think those are the two that you can give a break to and say, look, we're going to sit you tonight. We don't need you. That leaves you still with 7. And I think it's then kind of your pick of which one you want to, you can go back to 6. There's a way to do it, but I think it's rotating Mark Giordano in and out with somebody just to give him the breaks, keep him fresh for the playoffs. The guy's not 25 anymore, even though he's been playing great this season. It's not a knock on him at all, but the playoffs are going to be a lot more physical. So keep him fresh for that. Keep Shen fresh for that. Keep McCabe. You could honestly even rest Riley for a night and put Gustafsson in. I think there's things you can do if you want to go with 6. You've got the number of NHL caliber defensemen to do it. Just, I don't know, try it out.
Yeah.
Try it out.
And once Ryan O'Reilly comes back, we're probably going to revert back to the 6 and 12, honestly. Unless Keefe finds the positivity to continue, because Tampa, right, did the 11 and 7 through their 2 cup runs, and Shin was the 7th guy in there. So we'll see. But the biggest thing that sticks out to me, I saw a tweet today from Active Stick at the Oak Leafs saying, 2 points separate these teams over the last 20 games played, but it feels like one is an unbeatable giant while the other has been teetering on the bringing this organization to implosion. Pretty much Toronto has been 12-7-1 for 25 points, 70 goals for, 57 goals against, 87 on the PK, 26% on the PP, whereas Boston has won 1 more game in that span, has scored 1 more goal, has allowed 5 less goals, has a worse penalty kill average and PK. And we are always talking about these teams as this, I don't know, unbeatable monster. But the Leafs are right there with them.
And Tampa went on a really bad skid. They got shut out 6-0 that one game. Like, it's not all flowers and rainbows everywhere else.
Right. And
so just,
yeah.
You don't win 82 games. And I think this is just a bit of garbage time right now, right? Like, the Leafs and Tampa know they're playing each other. I think it's just fuck around and find out.
Yeah, and when Murray, he first time letting in at least 4 goals in the last 5 starts or whatever that stat was by the media, and highlighting how since he's returned from injury and now it's like doomsday for him, man, it just shows how media can really fuck with your brain, because when you think of Boston and Toronto, it's like apples and oranges, when in actuality, Leafs are better. Well, I'm biased, but right there, right? Just right up with them.
Next question.
Benito the Bass's Hound at Mike Hunter asks, is the second overall power play unit as bad as everyone seems to think it is? Hey, that's an awesome name. I know where you're getting at.
I love this. I've been talking about this for weeks, man. Like, the power play is not bad.
Yeah.
People just don't. It comes back to the exact same thing we were just talking about. People don't watch other teams. They watch one team and they say, wow, these guys are shit. Compared to who? Compared to your internal expectations? Like, because that's all it is. Because the standings of power play percentage say otherwise. Yes, I get the eye test sometimes isn't great, but like the numbers don't lie. Watch another team on the power play and tell me that it's better. Like, not against the Leafs in a completely separate game.
So Benito's asking specifically about the second power play unit. So we have Michael Bunting, Sam Lafferty, Calle Yarncroke, Alexander Kerfoot, and Eric Gustafsson right now listed on Daily Faceoff.
No, the question is the second overall power play.
Oh, see, I totally wrote that down wrong.
He's being sarcastic that is the second in the league power play as bad as everybody says it is.
Okay. With that point, when the power play is not coming through when you need it to come through, it doesn't seem like the second overall power play in the league. But again, it's to everybody's internal expectations of the power play. Like, you want them to score and they didn't. That doesn't mean the power play is bad, because clearly they're the second best one in the league and they get no chances. Like, everybody, they have still yet to get a 5-on-3. Like, what? Oh, I know. It's brutal.
We're going to finish the season
I'm not
with
it today. Yeah. But just to touch on the second power play unit, I like the fact that you can bring up guys like Lafferty and like,
it's great now.
I don't. Yeah, it's solid. And once you bring up Ryan O'Reilly, right? Like, this is a solid unit in my opinion, and it's definitely helped this percentage. But moving on, fun question from Chris Hurley at Hurley Sports. Peanut butter, natural, smooth, or chunky?
Okay, so my mom bought natural peanut butter a lot when I was growing up. I don't like it. It's the stuff that you got to like put in the fridge. There's no preservatives in it. It doesn't separate. There's no sugar, it does separate. There's no sugar in it. It's like where there's like the oil. You got to like mix it up. It's good for like if you're making peanut butter cookies. It's good for, if I'm making like a peanut butter saute sauce. It's good for like cooking peanut butter because it doesn't have sugar and stuff in it. So it, is a straight, just nutty flavor. But if I'm making a peanut butter and jam sandwich on white bread that is basically cake with jam that is just fruit turned into sweeter fruit, I'm eating smooth peanut butter with a bunch of sugar in it. This isn't a healthy thing.
Yeah.
The healthy thing is that there's peanut butter and fruit. There's nuts and fruit. There's the protein and whatever you get from the fruit, but it's a ton of sugar and it's plain old white bread. Like, it tastes good. It's not great for you. So I'm going with smooth peanut butter. I don't like crunchy because I feel like in the application of a peanut butter and jam sandwich, that's a really weird texture to randomly have in there. Because I feel like I'm always going to like question, is this something weird in the jam? I don't know. Again, crunchy peanut butter for cookies, but I didn't give this any thought, and I had a lot to say on it. I'm impressed. So what do you think?
First of all, natural peanut butter is disgusting. If you grew up on regular peanut butter, which has a shit ton of sugar, like you just said, you will definitely find natural peanut butter disgusting. I've had it many times because we've had to buy it for a diet here. And yeah, it separates and it's like, I am in my adulthood, I am definitely a chunky person.
Interesting.
Both ways. Yeah. Toast, you spread that, it melts, the nuts are there, and it's nice. Like, I honestly...
I went through a phase of that.
Yeah, like, it's texture. I appreciate texture, then I don't have to add anything else to it. And honestly, I rarely eat peanut butter. It just dries my mouth out. Usually just with chocolate. I mean. Yeah, I'm not a big peanut butter fan. It has to have jam or jelly or something, not honey or whatever, just like something like filling. I don't know.
I feel like peanut butter is one of those things where people are loyal to a brand. So what's your peanut butter?
It's growing up. It was always Skippy with the peanut on top.
Oh, rest in peace.
Yeah, but that was back in my smooth days.
Man, growing up, one of my neighbors down the street always had Skippy. And you could just like grab a spoon and eat that shit. It was so good. And then one day, it was just no more. There was no more Skippy. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Big peanut butter got in the way, man.
We're not crazy about the brands here. We're good for the cheap things here. So if it's less processed and cheaper, I'm in. But I barely buy.
Usually, if it's cheaper, it's more processed. But go on, sis.
Yeah, it depends, right? I don't buy a lot of processed shit, so it really depends. But
I try not to.
Yeah, I don't know. But good question. Thanks, Chris, for getting that in.
I would say we usually get Kraft. I've tried Farm Boy's peanut butter, but I only got it once because it's pretty expensive. I mean, it's like the same price. You just get a smaller jar of it. And I was like, this just tastes exactly the same. For those of you that don't have a Farm Boy near you, it's basically like, I don't know, Whole Foods, but normal priced. It's like, if you took out all of the aisles in a regular grocery store that have like non-food things, and you just had like aisles of like pasta and oil and baking stuff and chips and cookies, and then there's just like a meat department and a produce and whatever around the outside, bakery and deli. They have a bunch of prepared foods too. It's a really cool grocery store. I know they don't have a ton of them out the Toronto way. It's more of an out this way thing. I think they came
Farm
from
Boy.
Yeah, I think they started in Peterborough and they or maybe in Ottawa and they went to Peterborough, but I know might be the closest one out your way.
It's Whitby. There's one in Whitby.
Oh, nice.
But rarely go there. It's in the north end, and Farm Boy is very expensive. Like if you want to drop while you shop, you go to Farm Boy.
So here's what I have found with it, and we're not sponsored by them or anything, but like anything that is Farm Boy brand, like if you're going there and buying like, Farm Boy tortilla chips and Farm Boy salsa, like that stuff's expensive. Their produce and meat though is cheaper than Loblaws. Like if you're going there and grabbing like some deli meat, a loaf of bread and some stuff to make sandwiches and like some fruit for breakfast and stuff, and it will be cheaper than most grocery stores. Not than like, Food Basics or Freshco or something or No Frills, but it's cheaper than Loblaws and Metro for produce.
You're talking to a No Frills girl, so if I see the price of anything that's not No Frills, then I'm out.
There aren't any in Ottawa. There's one in Orleans, which is like the equivalent of Canada on the other side. There's no No Frills here.
Also, I have
There's
a PC
Freshco and Food
MasterCard,
Basics.
so the points, right?
Nah. PC's dumb.
I only spend
Fuck the West Ends, man.
I only spend on my MasterCard, and I get like a couple $100 a month in free groceries.
Don't support Galen West End.
I'm sorry. I've had it for years. Okay, I have the black one.
Okay, next question.
Okay, that is actually, we did have one come through.
There was one about Morgan Riley, wasn't there?
Yes, SC Morgan. Thank you for your question. Can Morgan keep playing this way, or will he go back to previous games version?
I hope he keeps it up. I think he will. Like, it's just seemed like with Alex Kerfoot where it just they needed to finally click again. And Kerfoot has seemed to find it. I know he's not scoring still, but he's at least been effective in how he's been playing. I think Riley should snap out of it. Like, don't you think?
Yeah, you have to believe it. This is playoff Morgan Riley getting into action. I'm going to just be positive about this because obviously his play hasn't been up to expectation, but it's been improving, right? And tonight he is the reason why we got our point, and we only hope that, maybe the less ice time is benefiting him in this way, or I don't know, different D partner, but at the end of the day, we need him, and we need him up to his best prime self. So yeah, I think it continues.
I do too. I mean, look, it wasn't like a one-off fluke play where he scored. Like, his confidence was there. Like, we talked about it, he hits the post and he's jumping in on these plays, and he's been doing that a lot the last few games. So finally scoring, I think it's like, all right, I'm back, baby. Mm-hmm. I hope.
And speaking of blocking shots, unfortunately, Sandine tonight took a shot to the back of the knee and was helped off the ice.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it's nothing too crazy, but he also becomes the only player in Caps history to have at least 3 or more points in multi-point games in 3 of the first 4 games he started with the team. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Playing on the first defensive pair and on the power play with Alex Ovechkin. Real hard to get an assist. Before, like, everybody's going to scream from the rooftops that, Gustafson's not doing it. I get it. He hasn't, we talked about this last episode, Beaner and I. He's not been performing up to what we've expected from him. Like, he does have more to bring, and I hope it's there in the playoffs. We also got a first rounder.
Yep.
And we weren't going to be able to hold on to Sandine. So the fact that he's going to a team where he can be on the first pair, that wasn't going to happen here. So yeah, great. He's doing well there. If we were in a scenario to throw him on the first pair, he'd be getting the same amount of points. He's just not doing that. Like, it's situational, man. Like,
he was
Zach
sheltered.
Hyman is not going to get the amount of points he has this year if he's playing with Johnny Gaudreau in Columbus. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Laine, Gaudreau, Hyman. I can guarantee you there's no way in hell Zach Hyman has this year. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I don't know anymore. But
sorry.
No, it's okay. Honestly, Sandine had sheltered minutes, right? And had his chance to prove it. I'm only bringing it up because I'm happy for him. I'm so happy to see him excel and succeed on this, proven Caps team who recently won a cup, right? And the injury tonight just sucks. And for my fantasy team, but he's been awesome in all aspects, and I hope it gets better. And his dad gets a second father's trip in less than 2 months. So,
I'm happy for him. I'm just tired of people saying that that was a stupid trade because, like, what? Okay, whatever. I'm not getting into this.
Leafs sign. Do you see the other news today? Leafs sign Ryan Turberberg to a future 3-year deal, entry-level contract.
Yes, 7th round pick. I mean,
so in the 2020 draft, the Leafs, this was from Steve Dangle. They had no more picks, and then they traded their 2021 7th to the Bruins for the last pick of the 5th round, and that was Ryan. So,
okay, cool. He's gonna play with the Marlies. Like, he's not coming to the Leafs. I don't really care. It's fun.
Could be a little plug-in if Bunting doesn't work out, or
no,
not in your opinion.
No, there's so many other people ahead of him in line that are older too and closer.
Matthew Nyes was nominated Player of the Year by the Big Ten. I didn't realize
who he plays with.
Is the other half of the news?
Oh my God, we keep talking at the same time. Go ahead.
Oh, that's a lot of people were upset by that today because Fantelli plays on his line with Cooley, and they suggest that they have been the better players. But Matthew Nyes has been nominated as Player of the Year, so good news for Leafs Nation, and maybe a name we will see way before in the lineup before Ryan Tverberg.
So I'm not sure who Fantilli plays for because I don't follow this league, but it's Logan Cooley and Matthew Nyes that play on the same line. And people were mad because Nyes isn't even the highest point scorer on his line because Logan Cooley has 10 more points than him. But Matthew Nyes has the most goals on the team with 21. So that's why. Sorry.
Yeah. Boston has clinched, by the way. First team to clinch, of course.
Good for them.
San Jose is officially out. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's a shame. So if anybody, again, if you're going to the game on Saturday, let me know. Hit me up. Say hello. You know. I'm going to do an episode after.
That should be fun.
I'm going to get home. My dad will probably be here on it because they're staying with me after the game.
Yeah, guys, go and meet Ed from Ed's Text.
Oh, don't. Please don't.
Yes, please do.
Please
Text
don't.
Roscoe the entire time on Saturday and find him. I will send you where he's sitting.
Oh, no. I'm in
fun.
the 100s. Go look in the 100s. You'll definitely find me.
Yeah, the ginger. He'll be jumping.
I'm definitely not in the hundreds. Oh, man. Okay. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. We'll be back Friday. Do we want to do
St. Pattying?
Okay, then let's do Saturday. We'll just do the Saturday one after the Ottawa game. We'll do both. Cool.
Deal.
Sweet. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Follow us everywhere. We got merch available on InsideTheRink.com. Go and check it out. Link is in the description. And, yeah. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Leafs Late Night, your night of post-game podcast. Available after every game on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and more.
Check by Marty Zylstra.